Your bell work for today is to answer this following question. What are 3 professions that would regularly use a map? Today's lesson is called The Purpose of Scale in Maps. We are still in the Principles of Geography subunit. On the next couple of slides, we are going to look at 4 images, and you are just going to take some simple initial observations. So we're starting with source 6 since we did sources 1 through 5 yesterday. Source 6 is a satellite image of New York City. So you are simply going to take your own notes on paper. I will not be collecting these notes, but I will be collecting the little assignment that we do at the end. Taking these notes will help you do that assignment though. So for source 6, it's a satellite image of New York City. When you're looking at this image, what do you see? What do you think? What do you wonder? So on your paper, you can just write source 6 and just jot down some bullet points of what you see, think, or wonder. How far away do you think you are from the land? So how far away are you from what's being photographed? And what makes you think that? So what evidence makes you think, oh, I'm probably this far away? I don't expect you to know the answer. You are just putting a guess here. You can pause this video real quick to answer these questions or to jot these notes down. Source 7 is an overhead photo from an overpass in New York City. You have the same questions. So what do you see, think, and wonder about this photo? How far away do you think you are from what's being photographed? And what makes you think that? So again, take a moment, pause the video, and jot down some notes for source 7. For source 8, it is an aerial photograph of New York City metropolitan area by night. So again, what do you see, think, and wonder? How far away do you think you are, and what makes you think that? Go ahead and pause the video here to jot down those notes. The last source we're going to look at is source 9. It's also an aerial photograph of New York City streets. So what do you think, see, or wonder? How far away do you think you are, and what makes you think that? Go ahead and pause the video. Now we're going to move on. So next on your notes, you're going to jot down what are some similarities that you saw between these photographs or images, and what were some differences. So between the 4, jot down a couple similarities and a couple of differences. Go ahead and pause the video if you need to do this in order to analyze that. Now we're going to go a little bit farther into our analysis. So which image of those 4 did you think was closest range? Are there any images for which you can figure out the approximate scale? Like, okay, this image is approximately 100 yards, covers 100 yards of land or whatever, or 20 miles. How did you figure that out? Or like, how can you tell that? Why? Answer that question. Which images are the most difficult to contextualize or kind of wrap your head around given the absence of scale information? So which one is it hardest to tell? Like, I have no idea how much land mass is being shown there. And then question 4 asks which image is easiest to contextualize and why. So if you need to pause the video to jot down some answers, you can. Again, I'm not necessarily collecting these notes. I just want you to answer these questions in order to kind of analyze these images. You can pause the video if you are going to jot down the answers. Question 5 says which image would be most useful for investigating patterns of how New Yorkers use land? So let's break this down. Out of these 4 images, which one would show you how New Yorkers are using the land that they're using? So are they using it for agricultural purposes, industrial purposes? Is there just housing? Like, can you tell how they're using the land? And which image shows you that? For question 6, which image would be most useful for investigating settlement patterns. So where is there more of a dense population? Is it near certain geographical markers? Is it near something consistently? Is there an image that tells you that too? So you're looking at specifically how they are, like the pattern that they're settling in. All right, so for your assignment, you're going to pick one of the pictures. I'll have all of them displayed on the next slide, so you won't need to like rewind the video or go back unless you want to, but I'll have them all. List what type of information could have been provided with that image in order to help you contextualize it, or again, like wrap your head around how large it is, what it's showing you. So you're just going to pick one. What information could have been provided? Then you are going to create prototypes of how you would show this information without taking up too much space or using too many words. I want at least 2 items that you are adding, okay? Again, when you are analyzing an image or doing imagery analysis, you want to be able to see as much of the image as possible in order to analyze as many parts of it as you can. So when you're adding something to it, you don't want it to take up a lot of space. You don't want it to cover up a lot of what you can see. So without making it tiny, just basically simple prototypes. What would you add? Okay. You are going to draw these prototypes on a sheet of paper, or if you are tech savvy, you can use some kind of computer program as long as you can save it as a file to upload. But draw these prototypes either by hand or by computer. I don't care. Be creative. And that is what you are uploading in today's assignment. So just the drawing of at least 2, you can do more, but at least 2 prototypes of what you would have added to these maps to help us contextualize them and understand how much landmass they're showing. I'm going to move forward so you can look at the images, and I have an extra little piece of information for you. All right, so these are your sources, 6, 7, 8, and 9. But really quick, before you go on to your assignment, I just want you to look at source 6 and 8 again. So those are the 2 on the left-hand side. They're actually images of the same land mass. They're just from a different scale, and then they're oriented in different directions. So if you look at source 6, it's 30 miles wide. So you're looking at 30 miles of land, and it's oriented north. So basically like up is north, right? If you look at source 8, it's 20 miles wide, so it's a little more zoomed in, and it's oriented southeast, so not north. So let me show you, as an imagery analyst, when I was in the military, what I would have been looking at in order to see this. So if you look, for example, at this body of water right here, and then you look here, there's 2 pieces of land that jut out, right? And then there's 2 rivers that are either feeding into or out of this little body of water. If you look down here, this is that same body of water, right? It's facing a different way because it's the map or the image is oriented a different way. These are the 2 little land masses that we saw here that jut out, and these are the 2 rivers that are flowing into or out of that landmass, right? So it's the same area, it looks very different. Okay, so go ahead, work on your assignment, make sure you get that uploaded into Canvas in order to get credit for that assignment. Have a great day.